Hello viewer, welcome to All Civities Today. My name is David. In our last video on the Lekki Headmaster, we stopped on page 17. So today we are going to continue from page 18. Now, it's a read along. So as I read, you read along with me. Okay. Now, this material I got, this scanned copy is not so sharp, not so clear, but just manage, all right? And I said, if you have something else to do, you can plug your ears, okay, and go do that thing. But make sure that you don't let my efforts be in vain. You watch the video from the beginning to the end so that you don't miss important details. Because we are going to take that in the next questions that we'll be taking after this video. I already prepared those questions, 50 questions in 2 parts. So we're going to be taking that to answer all the questions that are likely to come out in this year exam. Headmaster. Now we are on page 17 out of 64 pages. The last time I took 17 pages, I was coughing because it was quite a lot to read. Okay, so this time I don't know if I'm able to take 46 or 47 pages. So, but let's see how far I can go. Hopefully, I can finish it. But if I am unable to, then come back to watch the rest. Right? Shall we begin? Let's get into it. And if you are yet to be subscribed to the channel or you are joining us for the first time, do so right now. And remember to join the current WhatsApp group that we've created for JAMBites and NECO aspirants. Check the link in the description to find access to join that group. It will help you a lot. Now, let's continue. We'll start from this paragraph there. I will not be paying a dime as school fee for my children till 2027. That is when my first son will go to university. You can go back to the other video. I will also connect the link to this one so that you can read the end of that into the beginning of this. But for now, all 3 of them are in foundation schools where qualitative and free education is guaranteed. Rike declared. She also invited 2 of her sisters to the US, but for the visa problems, Wenimo, her brother, and parents last born faced, he would have also joined them in God's own country. She hoped to invite him as soon as he overcame the hurdles. But compare Rike's case with Akindele's, who would not invite even his daughter 7 years earlier. He migrated to the US, aged 55. He was invited by a US citizen. He met at a media company where he once worked in Lagos. He and his wife, married for 18 years, are just divorced. They have 3 children, aged between 16 and 10. Akindele eventually got permanent residency in America while living thereafter with his new woman. His first job was freight loading, followed by a correctional service. He said the later job was relatively less hectic than offloading large packages from trucks. Yet, he added that being a correction center official was not a tea party either. Imagine sitting down, alert, for 12 straight hours. Akindele told Ige, a friend who was also dreaming to Japan. There is no easy job in America. When a bold man does not want to know whether you are young or old, you will work for every dime. You get $1 per second and you do the work per second. I always put some older Nigerians here. Do you know that some of our people who retired at various senior levels, including as permanent secretaries, still come here to work? I have seen 70-year-olds who migrated from Nigeria ending up as casual workers in America. You will find an elderly man shaking like a leaf, tossed by the wind, as he tries to sort mails or whatever he does. That does not concern the Igbo man. You want to earn the dollar, you must be prepared to work for the cents. Akindele said he could not yet invite any member of his family, especially his children, because he needed more time to fine-tune the plan with his wife, who was his host. His host meant that he he was living is a dependent. He added that there was also the need to solidify one's financial base before bringing in
Get the cheapest science materials from allschoollabs.com.
independence. Okay? Next, chapter 4 now. A case of visa denied. In his room at Adeniyi Jones, Ikeja, Lagos, Beppo was about to say his night prayer when the phone rang. He was undecided momentarily whether to answer or proceed with the prayer. He looked at the screen to see who was calling. Haba, he exclaimed, why would this woman be calling so late? It was Mrs. Ignatius, the parent of his student. She was one of those whom Beppo believed was abusing the friendliness he permitted. Some and many, indeed, kept the relationship as official as possible. They limited discussions to matters pertaining to fees, books, discipline, punctuality, etc. But in Mrs. Ignatius' case, she overstretched the cordiality, discussing even her marital affairs with him. Beppo racked his brain, trying to recall how it all started. He wondered how he could have allowed such personal dealing with any parent. How could she call him in the dead of night? He has come again, no, Miss Ignatius cried. Who, madam? Beppo asked, anger bottled within. And before she could respond, he added, Madam, check your watch. 11 a.m., 11:55 a.m. Is it not too late for this? I'm sorry, Principal, but did you know that Igbe is not yet home? Beppo launched a silence that he knew would not be palatable to her. For God's sake, is it a crime to be principal? He asked, as he momentarily pushed the phone away from the range of his mouth, then shut his robust eyes as if the answer to the question lay in the dark. Banking on his 6-foot height and prominent eyeballs, he always jovially told the student that he was created to be a principal. According to him, once he was present in any class or hall, no act of cheating could go uncaught. If you beat my height, you can't beat my eyes, he would declare whenever he was supervising any exam. The fact was that the man seemed to have every trait maximally, if not in excess. His complexion, for instance, was as fair as that of the yellow ant that the Yoruba called Salamo. While his was a voice that hardly needed a loudspeaker, no matter the size of the crowd he was addressing. Beppo yet had another tale that the students often branded Tori. When I was growing up in the village, and my family was working on my father's farm, Salamo used to bite my brothers and sisters, especially when we were harvesting kola nuts, whose trees one had to often climb. But Salamo never beat me because my skin bore the same color as theirs. That was the extent to which Beppo could be down to it in the school, though he combined humor and compassion with seriousness whenever required. What he ever hated was being taken for granted or overstretched, as he believed Mrs. Ignatius was now doing. He had told her that she needed to have a lot of patience to let the wound heal. She had wronged the man, he believed. She had terribly wronged him, and the man had cause to be upset. As a matter of fact, he thought only very few men would still allow the marriage to hold in whatever form. A year later, the family had been planning to relocate to London. Mr. Ibe was a manager in an old farm, earning what a bloody teacher like Beppo would call an armed robber's salary. But he became fed up with the system and brought into the Japa philosophy, vowing he was ready to sacrifice all because of his children. My children will grow up here. They won't end up here, Ibe Ignatius had insisted. I want them to grow up in the same environment. I don't want other children that are being trained outside the country now to return and lord things over my own children. Youths are leaders of tomorrow, not all youths. Many of the ones getting Western exposure will become the leaders. I work in an international organization, so I know what I'm saying. Apart from the sentiment in favor of the children, the economic advantage which relocation promised made it an adventure more and more people were willing to explore. It was all about dollars and pounds. All you needed to do was work in any place for many people, just any place, earn the hard currency, and be able to send home even $1,000 per month. Then your life will not remain the same again. With the dollar exchanging for as much as 1.6, that was that time. I think it has come down now to about 1.450 or 1.5. In the black market, it meant you are automatically saving 1.6 million a month. How many people in the country were able to do that? How many earn 1.6 million or half, or even a quarter? How many in a country where lawyers could earn as low as 15,000 monthly? ABBA. Lawyers earn 15,000 monthly, NIBO. And some teachers were being paid the same or less as salary. Yes, some teachers are paid 15K actually, which is terrible. Mrs. Ignatu greatly loved the Japa idea. She had learned tailoring and hairdressing, including the traditional Yoruba Irundidi. Having understood that the crafts fetch a lot of money in the UK, from the information she gathered, you could earn up to $100 braiding for a client. That, changed to Nigerian currency, was some 160K. For just crafting shuku or any other Yoruba braid like Kojusoko and Onile Gogoro, why shuku tease the sky? It is unlike weaving. The Kojusoko braid pointed its tip towards the direction of the husband. Onile Gogoro cone was so extravagant that it threatened to kiss the sky while preparing for a hairdressing career in Canada. Miss Ignatius had learned that the bridal hat a year earlier before pulling out of her job as a clerical officer. The husband also had wound down his clearing and forwarding side business, preparatory to relocation, but something happened that scattered the plan. When the visa processing reached an advanced stage, a DNA test conducted on their 3 children showed that Ignatius was not the father of one of the kids. Favor, a 15-year-old SS2 girl at Stardom. The family never remained the same again. What's the matter now? Beppo asked after his long silence, which the human felt lasted 100 years. Excuse me. Very sorry for that. He still doesn't believe I did not cheat on him. He's now saying Favor and I have to go. Go where? He says we should go and stay with Favor's father. As Favor learns of the new saga, of the entire saga, does she know about the paternity crisis? No, I don't think so. But there is a kind of suspicion on the part of Iyi, her brother. He has been asking some disturbing questions lately. He says there must be a reason, a key reason the embassy turned around and denied us the visas. I think he has read up why families may have visa issues. So, is he suspecting a DNA crisis? Honestly, I can't say. There's a conversation now between the book and Ignatius, Mrs. Ignatius. There was a stretch of silence, then she added, even left home 2 hours ago, as we were discussing the matter, principal. Don't you think he might never come back? Beppo had no answer. He was equally set for his own relocation, believing he would soon have respite from this Ignatius saga. Experience taught Beppo several lessons about running an elite school like Stardom. He hoped some of these would be relevant in his next station. He knew culture and policies differ from one country to another, but no experience was a waste. Every parent wants to respect, and many seek to help their pride, to keep their pride. Some are rich, considerate and humble, some are rich, selfish and nasty. While all these traits reflect in the behavior of the children, they kept the management on his toes as he pushed to achieve goals. Beppo reminisced on some of the major incidents that defined his stay at Stardom. He hoped that someday he would detail this in a book. He prayed his job in the UK would give him enough time to work on his professional biography. Among the memorable stories we would love to share was the sacking of Mr. Yeshoro, the government teacher. At her GRA Lagos home, Mrs. Mary Ladele relaxed on the sofa watching a movie. It was a Nollywood stuff, the type she liked, a romance. Some 5 months ago, she had been a devotee at Z-World, savoring Indian soaps that dripped with love, scenes, and intrigues. Indian soap operas. But this time visit to the cinema where she saw about 5 Nollywood productions, rekindled her love for Nigerian films. It was around 1 p.m. Her 3 children had all gone to bed. She was the only person in the sitting room. Her husband Dele was away in Abuja, where he worked as a senior civil servant. The kids could turn naughty and cook up excuses to hang around the medium-sized plasma TV, but she had mandated them to always go to bed at 10 p.m. The youngest, Bibi, was particularly notorious for wanting to flout the other, especially when her father was around. When you thought she had disappeared into the bosom of sleep, you looked in the direction of the sitting room door and saw her mischievous eyes peeping through the blinds. Then a mind battle will start between mother and daughter. It was Dele who at times pleaded for her. Are you still there? Or fought on her side so that she could stay awake till 11 p.m. On such nights, the mother will insist Dele wake Bibi up in the morning, knowing how tough it could be to get her on her feet. In the movie, a female physician, Dr. Ajayi, was about to conduct a cesarean section of Bimbo, a bosom friend of hers. It was a task the doctor was quite happy to undertake, added by 3 of other colleagues. 2 of these were invited from a general hospital nearby because of their experience and expertise. The third worked at Legacy Memorial Hospital, a private establishment. Many people had reservations about government hospitals. They dreaded them because of the large crowd they attracted, which usually left doctors overwhelmed. They were also often bogged down by inefficiency and corruption. Nevertheless,
Run quick tests and analysis. Visit analysis.africa.
government hospitals were still famed for having some of the best consultants in the country. Therefore, regarding CS matters, many patients prefer taking the operation in public hospitals. And when they had to do so in private establishments, they opted for doctors from public hospitals on the team. It was this aesthetic arrangement Dr. Ajayi had with Bimbo. For Mrs. Ladele, who had the CS experience, watching the scene in the movie was an engaging treat. It was also good that the filmmaker chose to show the operation live. But what made the scene most captivating for Mrs. Ladele was an immediate bubble burst. Unknown to Dr. Ajayi, her husband was responsible for Bimbo's pregnancy. As the truth was about to hit the doctor, Mrs. Ladele, enthralled and caring little about her falling wrapper, inched closer to the TV, set to see how the painful truth will unfold. Just then, she heard a scream. It was Bibi. She rushed into the room and found the girl trembling, seated on the edge of the bed. "Mommy!" Bibi cried as she saw her mother. Her brother and sister, Tim and Love, had also been rudely awakened from sleep, looking bewildered. "Bibi, what's the matter?" Her mommy asked as she carried the girl and carried her in her hand. "It's Mr. Walla." "Ah, Mr. what? Who is Mr. Walla?" "Our government teacher. He appeared to me in my dream with his tribal mark." I'm stopped in to clear. I don't see that very well. Stopped in to clear the confusion. Bibi actually meant Mr. Yusu, popular in the school for deep tribal marks he flaunted. So prominent were the incisions that the student nicknamed him Mr. Walla, a derogatory Yoruba appellation for a person with wild facial marks. Every time Bibi saw Aishoro in school, she became scared. They met at basketball the previous week when Blue House, to which she belonged, held its maiden practice. Ahead of the upcoming inter-house sports competition, Bibi screamed with fright as Aishoro, who was one of the Blue House officers, arrived at the venue. Every effort by Mr. Aishoro to allay the girl fear was unsuccessful. Eventually, Bibi had to be reassigned to Grey House, where Tim belonged. None of the Ladeles slept again that night. Twice, Bibi mom tried to pet the girl into sleeping. Twice the girl dreamt, crying about Mr. Walla. Mrs. Ladele would hardly wait for daybreak to launch a complaint at Stardom. Worried that he could lose Bibi and her sleep into another private school, the management transferred Mr. Yeshuru to Stardom Hub, the property wing of Stardom Group of Companies. Wow, that's an amazing read. Now we are on page 23, so we've read 5 pages just about now. Okay, let's see how much we can go, how further we can go. If you are yet to be subscribed and you are enjoying this content, if I punch you, you will lose 2 teeth. Okay. Yes, let us continue. Now, the next chapter, snake in the what? Snake in the roof. Don't mind the blurry scan, please. Just come with me. Long break, joyful sound of pupils at every corridor. At the primary and secondary session, the children never missed the opportunity to play, despite the fact that it was time to eat. It was also a time when principals were told and teachers on duty move around to ensure there was no dangerous play. As one or two students has had an arm or the other broken in the past. Miss Ibino Plus had just uploaded her lunch. She escaped into a room in her spacious office for a little rest. This getaway was a top secret very people knew in the academic community of about 1,500 folks, comprising students and staff. Yet, if the privileged few knew she had time out in any room, none really understood why. They never knew the health condition that plagued her buttocks, leaving her with a peppery pain whenever she sat for long. She had been to doctors within and outside the country. She had, in the course of over 30 years, lived with the condition. Explored spiritual and traditional interventions, all to no avail. She therefore learned to live with it, especially as it did not immobilize her. Minutes after, she chose to alter her schedule a little by taking a walk around the surrounding, and she in the end thanked her stars that she did. The MD, a little instinctively, to exploit the opportunities to inspect a piece of land that Stardom acquired 2 years before, that was some 5 minutes away from the back of the school. As she approached the gate, the two security men manning it stood at attention. Okay. The MD decided, a little instinctively, to exploit the opportunity to inspect a piece of land that Stardom acquired 2 years before. That was some 5 minutes away from the back gate of the school. As she approached the gate, the two security men manning it stood at attention, with one already opening it as she gestured them to do. Both made a move to accompany her out, but she asked one of them to remain at their duty post. Getting to her destination, she found out that although the property remained fenced as the management had left it, about half of the 3 plots were filled with cars of different brands. They were not new, but it was obvious to the Stardom big woman that they were in use and that some people were using the place as a park. Our staff park here, ma, the guy at Jumbo said to save the MD from puzzle. Which staff? She asked, as she could not hide her shock. Our teachers and other staff. She was confused the more because she knew there was a staff car park in the school, and she, like almost everyone else, knew who had cars and who did not. But it's not everyone that bring their cars into the school. Jumbo had, in that moment, more than he uttered. The MD took time to inspect the rights, wanted to know who owned them. Jumbo was right because many of the cars bore Stardom School stickers. So many of her staff were hiding their cars from management, she thought. She saw different brands and models, including Toyota, Hyundai, Veriza, Mazda. She even saw the big Toyotas on drivers called Mozu. The MD skipped a breath and shook her head, self-pityingly. There were even 2 buses at the far right of the park. One was white, while the other wore the ubiquitous Lagos yellow color. There are some people cheating on her by engaging in public transportation. She felt more angered, mixed with fear, run through her system. She summoned the principal and school accountant via a phone call. Too bad for her and too bad for the school, she thought. Something must be wrong. The school purse must be leaking. How are the teachers getting money to buy those kind of cars? She further thought as she surveyed the park again. Afternoon, madam, the accountant said as he arrived. Accountant, what's happening in this school? The MD asked. Great things, madam. Accountant, I didn't call you for a motivational speech. What is happening? How safe is this school? How safe is our money? Before the accountant, who could no more hide his confusion, could say anything further, the MD added, where are all these monies coming from? Where are teachers and storekeepers and every gardener getting the money to buy these cars? When did this happen? How did this happen to us? Jeremy Amos, the accountant, now understood his boss' fear. She thought people were stealing to buy cars. He and the principal, who had also arrived at the scene, exchanged glances. It was with the understanding that the latter should speak. Mr. Beko therefore first ordered Jumbo to go back to school. By this time, the fear was quite palpable all over the MD's face. For the first time in a long time, she sweated profusely. "Ma'am, please, let's go to the office," Beko said. In the MD office, the accountant and principal assured her that the school finances were intact. He noted that while some of the teachers had raised money for their cash through various personal means, including loans, the main source of financial strength for about half of those who owned the 17 vehicles was the school cooperative. According to the two principal officers, a good number of the members of staff were taking loans which they had already been duly paying back. After all, the loans were being deducted from source. Yet, if the information did calm the MD down, it also raised another major question. How fat was the cooperative purse that it guaranteed those she saw as every Tom, Dick, and Harry a choice car? And perhaps inadvertently, that was the way she asked the question. How much is the account of the Stardom Cooperative Society that it could buy every fool the car of his or her choice? The word "fool" hit the two men like thunderbolts. They did not find this funny at all. They again exchanged the glasses but managed to maintain their cool. Pepper was happy that neither the big VP nor the physics teacher was at the meeting. Neither might have been able to stay so mute in the circumstance based on their extrovert profiles. The following day, she called a meeting of the board of directors, all members of the same family, the chairman, Chief Mrs. Solapo Bayo, who was the MD's mother, Martins Bayo, non-executive director, Oye Bayo, the last one, who was the board secretary. Not willing to take any chances, the MD asked for details of the cooperative society accounts from the account and the principal. The purse was 95 million, while over 15 million had been loaned out. "It's like hanging a snake in the roof and going to bed," Chief Bayo said. "What if the staff rebel and jointly establish their own school with the money? They would have stolen our brand ideals, and every other thing about us." The board weighed the threat and unanimously reached a decision, which guided the cooperative ever since. No staff member could borrow more than 250,000. Also, all loan requests have to be approved by the MD, and the management must be duly informed about the cooperative's elections. Are you still there? Now, chapter 6. Ade as well as Jide comes versus come. Okay, open days were very important at Stardom schools. For the management, it was an opportunity to update parents on academic activities. A staff meeting was held prior to each. This is not clear. It needed no reminder to teachers and non-academic members of staff knew it was a day when they had to look their best, especially because they would have personal encounters with parents. Generally, Stardom encouraged and in some cases compelled the teachers to look presentable. Some had even been fired for flouting dress instructions. At the end of the session, the best dressed teacher was identified and presented with an award. The event was a promising moment for many teachers, including the principal. It proved that the world of teachers did not have what to wait till they got to heaven. Some parents came with gifts in cash and kind for specific staff, especially class teachers. The Bayi family was outstanding. Smart Bayi again, Mrs. Lekki. Smart Bayi's mom, Mrs. Lekki, would give the school several packets of beverages. Her husband worked in one of the leading beverage companies, but open day was also driven by teachers because parents often came with trailer loads of complaints. Any teacher who have offended any student, genuinely or otherwise, deliberately or inadvertently, could receive packets of bottled anger. Mr. Beko recalled an episode Mrs. Bidinoglous has sent for him, asking him to appear in her office immediately, urgently. With her as a parent, Mr. Buta seated in a chair in front of the empty desk. The boy greeted the drawer as he walked in. The MD indicated she did not need any pleasantries. Where is Fafodri, the one that calls himself an English teacher? She asked. Wow, this face is blood out. Shocked, the principal looked Mr. Buta in the eye, searching frantically for a clue. He saw none, not in Mrs. Glock's face either. The parent did not betray any sympathy for the teacher about to be flung out of a job. Rather, he looked calm, reassured, and pacified by the sack order. Okay, we're having a lot of issues with the notes, so I'll just stop in this chapter. We're not going to take any more episodes after this. It's quite laborious. So all I'll just advise you, get the notes. Of course, once you register for JAMB, you have access to the novel. So take your time to study. So just after this, we are going to call it a day.
Run quick tests and analysis. Visit analysis.africa.
There was an instruction the book hated. It was issuing a sack letter. He had done so a number of times. The management rarely sacked anyone directly. It executed what he considered the dirty job through his office. He always felt pained when anyone had to lose a job, especially for issues he felt were not grave. There were times where no one could really help matters, such as in the case of the teacher who, the previous time, was caught altering a student result for a fee. Some had been sacked for perennial incompetence and child abuse, suspected or proven. Mr. Pepper remembered that the management, through his officers, also booted out some whom he believed were either not seriously guilty or not guilty at all, just helpless victims of circumstances or even conspiracy. Whatever the offense or its magnitude, Pepper always felt a void in his heart every time a colleague lost his or her job. Perhaps that was because he had experienced joblessness before and understood what it meant for a family man like Faforo. What Mr. Beko considered the most embarrassment of his life happened when he was out of job. An ugly situation had forced him out of a school where he worked. He had no saving and no new employment was in sight. At the height of the financial drought, he had the 2.5 electricity tariff he collected on behalf of tenants in the crowded Face Me, I Face You house where he lived in Yanapaja, also in Lagos. To cover up the deed, he lied that he had remitted the cash, but he also said, Kulum ta barabu ranadaya toma kaya. Every day is for the thief, one day for the owner. One day. Nearby electricity men arrived and disconnected the power cable, then threw down on everyone. The first tenant rained insults, curses, and mockery on Ogatisha, as he was called. The most aggressive complainant that God-forsaken day was Yamatu, the no-nonsense wife of Mr. Adio, a co-tenant. The short devil grabbed a full bowl of Olubo cassava powder. Since her hand could not reach the headquarters of his skull, she jumped, rocketing a swampy frame off the ground, and dumped the bowl on the teacher's head. Immediately, Mr. Bebo became a wise man. And as though the cassava flour baptism was not enough, Yamato spontaneously burst into singing, Ogatisha Ole, oh no, Ogatisha Ole, oh no, Satisha is a thief. He has paid the electricity tariff. Madam, what's the matter with Foforo? Whisper asked the MD. Mr. Bebo asked, please, do what I ask you to do first and come back with a query. Or you could send the query to me electronically. Wow, this one is as well blood. Rather than get to his office and send Mr. Fafori, the principal went straight to the staff room. According to an Igbo proverb, man, I'm so sorry, friends. We just have to call it a wrap here. Okay? I have not been able to get the novel, the hard copy. Probably I would have made a scanned copy of it myself, but this was the best scanned copy we could see online. And as you can see, a lot of pages are blurry. Okay? Our blood. So just try, take your time on your own to read this, understand it as you prepare for the
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the video you just watched. To see more content as that, preparing you for your upcoming exam, make sure to smash the subscribe button and turn on notification. Also, remember that you can use the comment section to send us your questions or your inquiries, and we are happy to take them. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.